Hello, we'll be discussing about group theory and its chemical applications chapter in coming sessions. And this is the first session, which includes a brief introduction of molecular symmetry and properties of the group. Before going into the applications of group theory in chemistry, let us just recall what I mean by group theory. So, group theory is conventionally a branch of mathematics, but we are not going much deeper into the mathematics. Just basic knowledge about matrix algebra is essential for to study the application of group theory to molecules. So group theory is study of groups. So what is group? A group is a set of entities or elements which are related to each other by certain rules. That is, it is a set of element G, and it has an operation which allows you to combine any two elements, and that should be following certain basic rules. That is, each group has its own set of formulations and rules. For example, G, which is a set of uh, infinite whole numbers, and another set of even numbers, which is including positive and negative even numbers. So here the rule of combination is that we add the numbers. Addition is the operation prevailing, and when we add two elements of a group, then the resulting element also should be belonging to that particular group. Then we say that the set of elements satisfies the basic rules required for a group. In a similar fashion, in any geometrical shapes, we could observe the symmetry, various symmetry operations that can be performed, and all these symmetry operations are put together in order to form a group. So the symmetry operations are the one which are actually performed in order to know whether the symmetry is existing in any object or not. And the same is going to be applied for the molecules also. As molecules, they have a perfect geometry. So we are going to relate these uh, symmetry property for the molecules, and we'll be finding the application of group theory in chemistry. So introduction of symmetry. It is actually derived from the Greek word called symmetron, which is to measure together. So what is to be measured? Symmetry is to be measured. That means that we consider two or more things to observe symmetry in any object. So basically, in a simple way, symmetry can be defined that a certain part or a portion of an object exactly looks like another part. And here comes an example, an alphabet A when we are taking, and this is the line of symmetry when it is in the drawn in the middle of the letter, exactly in the center of the letter A. Then an action of flipping, if it is happening, then this portion will be exactly equivalent to that of the portion on the left hand side. So, and one more requirement is that for any two objects to be symmetrical, they must be of the same size and shape, but with one object having a different orientation from the other one. And one more very familiar example is our face. When we draw a line of symmetry down the center of the face, the left side will be the mirror image of the right side. So this is how the symmetry is observed in any object which is found in nature. So certain objects may have higher order of symmetry, and certain objects may have lower order of symmetry. Means very less symmetry is actually found. So here in this case, we could see that a, a picture actually it is found to have an image which is being reflected on the in the water. So it has only the plane of symmetry. But in this case, reflection is also found, as well as when we draw a line of symmetry by having a flipping action, this portion will be exactly matching with the of this portion. So it has a higher order of symmetry. But there are certain objects where we do not find any symmetry, then those objects are said to be asymmetrical. A very good example is our palm. So when we draw a line, a center of symmetry, line of symmetry is drawn in a palm, then we could observe on flipping, the portions may not be exactly matching with the of the left hand side. Similar way, this is another example where you could see that the crabs on either side, the limbs are actually different. So in no way they are going to be equal. They are going to be reflecting. So they actually doesn't have symmetry. They are said to be asymmetric in nature. Okay, then to know the molecular symmetry, we should be knowing about the symmetry elements a molecule which actually possesses, and using that symmetry elements we'll be performing the symmetry operations in order to reveal a symmetry property in any molecules. So symmetry operations actually it is an action that its effect is to take the body into an equivalent configuration. That is one which is indistinguishable from that of the original, though not necessarily identical with it. And symmetry element, it is a geometrical entity such as a line, plane, or a point with respect to which one or more symmetry operations may be performed. So using symmetry element, symmetry operations are performed. So in this case, we are taking an equivalent triangle, and in this, the symmetry element is just a line, and other words, it could be said as an axis. And this line is perpendicular to the top of the equivalent planar triangle, and it is subjected to a symmetry operation called rotation. And the rotation through an angle, say for example 120 degree, if it is rotated, then we will be getting a configuration which is actually equivalent to that of the original one. You cannot distinguish from that of the original configuration. Only the positions of the letters has been changed. So even though they are not identical, but we could see that an equivalent configuration which are said to be indistinguishable configuration. And one more time rotation, if it is done, again one more equivalent configuration we do, we just get it. And again, one more time 120 degree rotation is dealt, then we get a configuration which is actually exactly similar to the of the original one. So you could find here, this is the original configuration on which the rotation is performed, and finally after doing 360 degree rotation, we'll get a configuration which is exactly similar to the of the original one, and that is said to be the identical configuration. So here, which is the symmetry element? The axis is uh, denoted to be the symmetry element, and which is symmetry the operation? It is the rotation operation. So in a similar fashion, we have various symmetry elements such as a plane or a point with respect to which the symmetry operations are performed, and we will be seeing in the coming slides. So as we discussed, all these symmetry operations which are possible in any geometrical shapes or in on any object or in a molecule, all these collectively, they are going to form as a set of elements and they form as a group. So how the symmetry operations are expected on any geometrical shape, that is shown in this slide. So let us just take an example of a square in which various symmetry operations are going to be performed. So the operations are reflections and rotations, otherwise flipping. So for which the symmetry elements such as plane, mirror plane, otherwise an axis actually is used. So this is the first case, the reflection, where a mirror plane is taken, and this mirror plane is kept horizontal. This is one kind of placing the mirror in the square. So we'll be getting a configuration in which 4 and 3 gets reflected in the positions of 1 and 2. So we get a configuration which is actually indistinguishable. So we could count this as a symmetry, one of the symmetry operation as M1 reflection. So another one, it is the plane which is kept vertical, and also the resulting configuration is indistinguishable. And let us just consider this again, another symmetry operation, that is M2 reflection. And when the plane is actually passed through the diagonal, then only the two corners will be reflected mutually, and other two corners where the plane is passing remains the same. And this is taken to be M3 reflection, and one more is what, M4 reflections. So we have found the possible reflections in this square. So we have got four possible reflections symmetry in order to show the symmetry nature in the square. So symmetry operations, four possible symmetry operations using symmetry elements plane has been observed. Then let us go into the rotation operation. And here the symmetry element is a line which is actually perpendicular to the plane of the square, and it is subjected to rotation. So when a rotation through 90-degree, we could see an indistinguishable configuration, but not an exact configuration. So here, let it be R1 rotation. And again, one more rotation through 90-degree, totally 180-degree. It gives another a rotation R2 and 270, R3 possible rotations. And finally, a complete rotation, that is 360-degree. It again relates, it again results into an identical configuration. So that also can be counted as one of the symmetry operation as or four operations. So totally four rotational operations we have just observed, and further we have a few more operations also. So with respect to this line, a flipping also can be done. So here it has been summarized. So in here, a line is taken, and this, with respect to this line, a flipping can be done. That is, rotation can be done through 180 degree. So that is also another type of symmetry operation. So here also four symmetry operations are expected. That is the flipping operations or rotation through 180 degree. And similarly, this is what we had earlier seen using the mirror plane for reflection operation. And here it is rotation using an axis perpendicular to the plane of the square, again 4. So likewise, we have inverse operation also. So we have just related uh, various kinds of symmetry operations for any square. So all these possible operations are now put together, and they form a set of elements which belongs to a group G. So all these symmetry operations will be considered to be a set of elements which will be belonging to the group, and whether it is belonging to that group or not, it has to satisfy the basic properties of the group. So what are the properties of the group? So a group is, as we discussed, it is set of members, that is the elements, which are related to each other by certain rules. So the certain rules have to be satisfied by the elements so that they form a group. So what are the properties? Closure property, that is, if A and B are two elements that belongs to group G, then the product of A, B is also should be present in G. Otherwise, when we perform additions of these two, then the product of that addition also should be present in G. Then we say that as a closure property. That is, the group is closed under this addition and some multiplication operations. And next is the associative law. So when we perform this multiplication of AB first, then followed by multiplication with C, it should be equivalent to that of this uh, function, that is B and C multiplied followed by A. And next is the identity property. So what is that identity property? Any element of a group, when it is multiplied by and any other element, then it will be resulting back into the same element. So identity element is the which um doesn't show any change in the operation. So we'll be discussing in the next session. So what is the inverse property? So each element has its own inverse, which actually operates opposite effect of that of the another element. So when we are combining the inverse and then inverse with that of the particular operation, then the resulting element will be the identity element. So all these four properties has to be satisfied by these sets of elements which are actually associated with this group. So for example, a very simple property let us take, and then let us see whether they follow the properties of these groups. So M1 dot M2, that is M1 multiplied by M2, or combination of M1, M2 operation will be resulting into another operation, and that operation should be belonging to that group. So here comes M1 operation. What is that M1 operation? The reflection in which the plane is kept horizontal. So M1 operation, the resulting configuration is this one, and on that the resulted configuration, M2 operation is performed. What is M2 operation? Keeping a plane in a vertical position. So when we keep a plane in a vertical position, the resulting configuration is this one. Then let us see the resulting configuration is matching with the which operation. So we have seen R2 configuration, that is 3, 4 will be above, and 2 and 1 are in the bottom of the square. The same is obtained here, 3 and 4 in the above of the square, and 2 and 1 are found in the bottom of the square. So this configuration is related to this R2 operation. So when two operations M1 and M2 are combined, then it results into another operation, for example R2, and that also belongs to this group. So these set of elements that are actually satisfying the basic properties of the group. So when we do the symmetry operations on any object or the molecule, those symmetry operations need to be satisfying the properties of the group. Hence, based on these fundamentals or introduction parts, then let us see how group theory is going to be used in chemistry. So important property of the molecule are its geometry and electronic structure, in which symmetry is actually observed. Hence, symmetry is seen in molecules possessing identical atoms in certain parts of it. So the identical atoms are mutually equivalent. That is, in a molecule, the atoms should be of same identical atoms, and the positions should not be changing. The position of the molecule should not change. Means there should not be any translational motion. Only the positions of the atoms can be changed without affecting the bond length. So here the energy is not affected because of these symmetry operations. So the requirement is that the molecule should be possessing identical atoms in certain parts of it. And this water molecule, which has a geometry called bent shape, it has the symmetry elements such as plane, axis, and with those symmetry elements, it can undergo the symmetry operations such as reflection and rotation. So likewise, all the molecules which has the perfect geometrical shapes may have symmetry, and those symmetry can be derived based on the symmetry elements uh, and symmetry operations. So because by doing that, we can categorize the molecules which belong to a particular group, and here in this case we should be saying it belongs to a particular point group. So we classify the molecules based on the symmetry. So by using that, we can find various applications in chemistry using that symmetry. So by considering this symmetry, we can tell us whether a molecule will have a permanent dipole moment or not. And also it predicts the infrared and Raman active vibrations or the possible electronic vibrations in a molecule without going for any instrumentation. We need not go for any instrumentation in order to find the possible vibrational modes, but we can make use of this simple symmetry calculations, symmetry observations and simple calculations. We can predict the infrared and Raman active fundamental modes. And also we can predict the type of hybridization an atom that undergoes in bond formation, and that also can be understood by this symmetry. And it is used in Huckel's theory of the organic molecules, that is in constructions of the molecular orbitals and to calculate the bond dissociation energy. And also we can correlate the orbitals of the reactants with the orbitals of the product in a thermal or in a photochemical reaction based on this symmetry property that is discussed under Woodward-Hoffmann orbital symmetry conservation rule. Thus, the experimental observations in chemistry can be given a stronger theoretical support by molecular symmetry. And the coming session, we'll be discussing about various symmetry operations and elements. Thank you.